IHMS. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to IHMS. I am Iman Jami, and today I have Amir Shash, who is a third-year York University student in Toronto studying environmental studies. Thank you for joining us, Amir. Well, I should say you are part of the IHMS family. And thank you so much for being one of the youth who actually want to help and empower people in their community. It's something that we're looking forward to here. And I guess today the main topic would be, tell us a bit about yourself, why you decided to join IHMS, and what you hope to gain from this experience here.
So a bit about me. I am a student, as you said. So I'm studying environmental studies, and that was actually the primary way rather of me involving myself with my community. So the nature of what I'm studying right now stems from my involvement from as early as grade 8, where I kind of worked in a more communal capacity. I worked in like customer service in a local rec center, and then from there I organized a lot of citywide events in the city of Toronto. And then from there, my involvement in the city has just grown, and I've been involved with a lot of other initiatives. I write for numerous university papers, such as Queen's Journal, Excalibur, Laurier Cord, and it's nice to disseminate a lot of my experiences that I've had working in community building and other things of that sort. I feel that Hararis are a marginalized group, and as you already know, earlier in 2019, the Harari community in Toronto conducted a census that was led by members who work in different capacities, such as municipal government, healthcare, among other things. And upon analysis of that data, they actually determined that there was just under, I believe, 700 Hararis that were accounted for in Canada's census data. So it just accentuates how small the Harari population is here in Canada, and much more so here in Toronto. And I feel that we need community leaders who are Harari, of course, to conform to the interests of the youth, especially with the advent of technology. I'm not sure if you're aware, but there's this YouTuber from, I believe, Atlanta or Washington, and he goes by the name of Harari Boy, and his work is very exemplary because he uses humor to integrate Harari culture into
He's from Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta, and he's from here. I actually know him. Yeah. So he's different. Let's just say he's different, but you're right. He uses humor to he infuses humor and culture. So sometimes when you watch his memes, like instead of he'll write them in Gaysanan, and that makes them all the more appealing to people our age. Exactly. So
yeah, and when you actually use a platform and program in such a manner, you ascertain the fact that it's not so hard to engage such a community as well, because Hararis are underrepresented. We need to establish our involvement in the cities that we live in so that we are more pronounced and we are more well known, because Hararis, as it stands in Toronto, are just in a few dozens, so we're not really known. And it is harder because, of course, so I've acquired English a lot better. And so for me and many other people, it's hard to preserve culture when you're faced with this sort of like immersion into, I guess, like North American society.
Sorry. That's true, and the same goes for me. Even though I'm bad نتولد مام كوتا متنا بعد بزوت خصا. So Canada, I mentioned to you in our pre-phone call, I used to live in Toronto. And when I Canada Dishusa, I was 6 years old. So I mean, I still consider myself Canadian. Lakin it's very important for us to preserve our culture, which is why I find it fascinating when people like you and other youth that I've interviewed, maybe in the last week or so, make it a point to want to preserve their culture. And for you, it's different because you actually work for us here, or not work, volunteer. We're all volunteers, but you actually take your time and volunteer here with us at IHMS. So how can we get more youth to become more involved with us here at IHMS? What do you think we're missing? How can we attract them? Any ideas, suggestions?
I feel like what IHMS should do is we should first identify what is it that gauges our audience. So as I said earlier, just to allude earlier, whether it's through the medium of social media, like memes, as you said with Harari Boy, or whether if it's sports, if you could find a way to bridge the two, so Harari culture and whatever it is that engage the youth, you can definitely find a way to kind of use those sort of things as like as an incentive just to gauge the youth, and then maybe that way once you have the ball rolling, you can kind of work from there, and then they'll be more involved.
So as a youth, what made you want to get involved? Because I've heard you read some of the dialogue that we've shared on IHMS. So what made you want to get involved?
Well, it mostly stemmed from the journalism that I've done over the last year or so, and I felt like I could contribute to my community. I feel like it's good contributing for your local cultural community, and as well you become like an ambassador for the general community wherever you live. So yeah.
So how would you, like, if we were to say, Amir, we want you to recruit 5 of your friends to help come and join us at IHMS, how would you go about doing that?
I think I would use any medium of social media to kind of disseminate that something like this does exist, because most times often IHMS does have some trouble with kind of outreach, because the age cohort of the people who are organizing it, they're not really youth, they're more of an older generation. So there's a lot of like youth phenomenon that they don't really get. So I think you have to kind of bring it upon people who are kind of more in the youth cohorts to kind of reach out to them, because it is understandably hard for parents, or the older generation rather, to reach out to them and tell them about these sort of things. A lot of people who are I'd say maybe 35 and older probably don't have Instagram. It's mostly WhatsApp, IMO, those sort of apps. So I think if they use Instagram or Snapchat or whatever social media that these youth use, you can set up a page and maybe have some sort of incentive, as I said, or maybe introduce a scholarship, maybe in the name of someone with a connotation to our Harari culture. Maybe that'll kind of get them more interested, because I feel with volunteering and with the youth, they don't feel like they're not going to get anything out of it. So you kind of want to entice them with something. So that's my best.
Do you feel like you're getting anything out of it? And if so, what are you getting out of working with us?
I feel like I'm developing a lot of speaking skills, rather, because this is kind of my first interview on camera, live. It kind of helps me with practicing what I'm going to say and how I can just really express myself as someone who grew up here but still has ties to their culture, right?
So would you recommend to some of your friends the experience that you've had here, and ask them to help us out if they can, and that way we can just kind of like a snowball effect, recruit, and then that way the youth can kind of come up with their own programming? I think that's more so what we need, is our own programming, because the adults, people my parents' age, your parents' age, they have IHMS to talk about things that they care for. But I think the more youth we have, I think we can steer the program in the directions of things that are important to us.
Yeah, absolutely, no doubt. I feel that um, a lot of kids have potential with a lot of interests that they have, whatever it may be, and they can kind of they can have like a speaker's corner or something like that where they want to either vent or whether or if there's something that's pressing within the Harari community or their own uh, locality that they want to talk about, they can definitely do that and use IHMS as a medium to disseminate that, right? So I think I think it's well worth it for any of our youth.
Okay, so what message do you have for anyone that wants to volunteer?
I would say, get involved. It helps you with your public speaking skills. It definitely helps you be more creative, because you can integrate any aspect of pottery culture and you can blend it with your own interests. And of course, this platform isn't just local, it's worldwide because this is obviously uh, going to be posted on YouTube. So anything that you do say may resonate with some other community members, and then that may intrigue them to get involved as well. So I would say do it.
So as a youth, what types of programs would you like to see IHMS do in the future?
Personally, I think professional development workshops.
Okay.
So anything to do with career building, because that's something that's always pressing with the youth as they progress into adulthood.
Okay.
I think maybe any recreational programs, because I know a lot of Harari youth love basketball and all these sort of recreational sports. So I think it's a good way to foster cohesion with our youth, and I think it's well worth it at the end if we facilitate it very strategically, and hopefully everything will work out the way we want it.
So a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed Nia, who's the head of the Toronto Youth Committee. Now, she said that they work really hard to have get-togethers, but of course, with COVID-19, that's been put to a halt. So are you part of that youth committee? Like, do you get together with other Hararis? Go ahead.
I'm not part of the Harari Youth Committee because there is an impediment with COVID-19. It hasn't really struck me especially. I've just been at home mostly. But if I did find time where I'd constantly engage with facilitating anything to do with IHMS, I would definitely be happy to do that.
Okay, I mean, that's great. I mean, if you know anybody that wants to volunteer to help, we're always looking for volunteers. I'm very proud that someone of your age and your caliber actually wants to come and help. We here at IHMS are very proud to have you as part of our team member. I've heard some of your readings. I think you do a fantastic job. And if you know anybody or come across other youths, I know it's hard with COVID-19, but if you know anyone, just let them know what IHMS is all about. We're very pretty open, and we do need youth to help lead us into the next generation, like you said, to help bridge the gap between them and our parents. So Amir Shash, thank you so much for joining me. Is there anything else you want to add before we go?
That's about all.
Well, Amir, that's wonderful. I'm really astounded by someone like you who's young and wants to help volunteer with their community. We here at IHMS are always looking for youth and young people with fresh ideas to come on board. So anything that you can do to help entice others to join you, because I've heard some of your readings, and like I said, we're very proud of you here, and I want you to continue to use your voice as a platform and let us know if there's anything that we can do to help bridge the gap between, you guys and me and our parents, So if you think of anything, let us know. Thank you for joining us, Amir, and we look forward to hearing from you in the next episodes or so, okay?
Thank you so much. It's
All
great
right.
it's great talking to you on IHMS's network, and I hope that whatever initiative that IHMS proceeds to do does flourish, and we lead our generation leads the way.
Thank you so much. That means so much. Thank you for joining us, Amir.
Thank you.
IHMS.